Hi and welcome to the Discuss KE. My name is Joy Njoki and I am your host. And with me is Joy. She is here to speak about taxes, but first let her introduce herself to you.
My name is Joy Njoki. I'm Otieno and I'm excited to speak about taxes today.
Karibu, Joy.
Thank you.
So, yes, topic is taxes. So, topic is taxes. So, why do we pay taxes? Let's start from there. And what are taxes even?
So basically a tax is an additional levy to probably a cost you'd pay for something. And why we pay taxes is because we're basically paying a subscription to live in this country. I can put it like that. Yeah, but basically taxes finance a lot of projects, not just infrastructure projects or capital projects. They also finance a lot of revenue projects. Let's just say taxes run the country, yeah? So taxes are the reason why teachers can be paid, doctors can be paid, roads can be built. Basically, it's just the way we run this country. Yeah.
Right. So in Kenya, we remit our taxes through the body which is KRA. Yeah. And we are supposed to declare our taxes to KRA. So why do we need to tell KRA about our taxes, yet they know that we know and we know that they know?
Yeah, so Kenya runs what is called a self-assessment regime. That is basically me as a taxpayer. I assess how much tax I'm supposed to pay, and I'm the one who is supposed to declare that to KRA. The reason we do that, and it's not the other way around where KRA comes and is like, oh, you're supposed to pay this tax and this tax, it's because of several reasons. One of them being the administrative headache that would be there. Can you imagine KRA, one body, following up on 40 million Kenyans? It's easier for 40 million Kenyans to declare their taxes to one body. So the ease of administration. Secondly, it will be very expensive. And thirdly, if KRA was the one coming to you and telling you, by the way, you need to pay these taxes, you've not paid this much, all that, it will bring up a lack of probably goodwill. You'd feel like KRA is pushing you. So there's that freedom of being like, by the way, these are my taxes, and this is how much I'm paying. So it's just a way of reducing adversity between us, the taxpayers, and the tax collector.
Right.
Yeah.
So today we're going to primarily speak about individual taxes. So if I have a business, a small business, whether it's an online business or a physical business, but it's a small business, what taxes am I required to pay so that my taxes are in order?
Okay, so first of all, when you're talking about individual taxes, we can start from the point where we make an assumption even before probably there are people who own a business, who run a small business, and they're also employed.
Right.
So it's two-way. For you as an employee, you will pay a tax called pay as you earn, but the responsibility of remitting that pay as you earn is on your employer and not you. Secondly, there are people who are also employed, but they don't pay PAYE. They're not necessarily an employee. We wouldn't call them an employee. There's something called badges of employment in taxes. For example, for me to be considered as an employee of you, probably you've employed me, so for me to be considered as an employee, you probably given me tools of trade. I probably spent so much time working on your specific venture. However, there are other people who work as consultants. So for them, it's withholding taxes.
Right.
Yeah. So on this other side, the question where you asked about you running a small business. So basically, they're both direct and indirect taxes. So for starters, if your business has a revenue of more than 5 million a year, you're required by law to register for VAT. VAT is value-added tax, where you'll pay 16% above the taxable value. So that is like mostly the most common tax, VAT, for small businesses. But there's also something else called turnover tax, which is 1%. If your revenues for the whole year are above 1 million and below 50 million, you're supposed to pay 1% of your gross turnover. So basically your revenues for the year. So 1% of it. So the most common ones is turnover tax and value added tax.
Okay. So just like a brief recap. So in the event that I am employed and I have a business, my employer should take care of my pay, and I should take care of my VAT if my business is making more than 5 million in a year.
Yeah.
Or I should remit my taxes if it's I have forgotten the 1% turnover tax or register for turnover tax. Okay.
Yeah.
So in the case where there's a bit of a cry, and I suppose people have gotten over it a little bit, but just to go through it again, the digital tax. So who exactly does it affect, and how does it affect that person?
So there was an introduction of digital services tax, which is basically 5% of your gross revenues. So that is affecting the digital market space. So we could talk about the Jumias. There are probably companies or ventures that run online. For example, subscription services like probably a learning platform where you'd pay a subscription. You see, that's a digital service that is not, I can't say I'm offering you something physical, yeah?
Right.
So those are they are mostly the target audience of KRA, because it would be such an administrative headache to trace down. Probably you are an influencer, so you're supposed to pay this and this. So the buck stops with the big, I would say not the big corporate, I want to say the placeholder or whatever platform. Yes, the platform is the right word. So the platform is the one to remit these taxes, but at the end of the day, you'd find that these platforms trickles down the cost in one way or another to the actual person who's listing services on their platform or accessing services on the same. Yeah. So
it's like an eventual trickle down effect, but it's not 5% is not coming from me. It will get to me somehow.
Yeah, but we wouldn't say like it happens. The trickle down happens to every platform, because you'd find there's some businesses who will absorb the cost and not trickle it down to the consumer. So I think it varies from platform to platform.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So if I need to get my house in order, I need to get my taxes in order. Actually, before that, so I remember when I was about to clear my uni, the ITAC was just coming on board. And then people were asked to declare their taxes and remit their taxes. And if you didn't do that, you would get penalties. So what happens if I have not declared my income all this time? So I know for a fact that I have accrued penalties. How do I handle this?
So the first thing is to understand where these penalties are coming from. Yeah, you need to understand the genesis of your penalties and interest. Is it taxes you didn't declare in time? Is it, did you not file your returns on time? So first of all, understand the genesis of where these penalties and interest are coming from. Then secondly, KRA, usually on the ITAC platform, there's a way for you to apply for waivers and penalties. So I think the first step would be, if you don't understand where these penalties and interest are coming from, get in touch with your KRA officer who's in charge of your station. Everyone has a specific station that you're registered to when you get your PIN. So it's possible for you to be able to know where are these penalties and interest originating from. Secondly, after identifying that, you can apply for waivers on penalties and interest if you definitely have a legitimate reason why you did not pay taxes. So you will write a letter to the commissioner explaining your reasons, but that is subject to approval by the commissioner. It's at the discretion. Yeah. So it's not a guarantee that you're gonna...
They will waive my taxes.
Yes, correct.
So my final question is, we are getting into tax season soon. We're going to get so many messages from Kerry. And then we will realize that we know very many friends of ours who can do our withholding taxes and things like that. So what do we need to do as we get into this season?
as we get into tax season, first of all,
and I know I don't think tax season is like a word. I've just come up with it in my head, but thank you for running with it.
So as we get into tax season, I guess as an individual, first of all, please don't be a late file of returns. Like, it's already open. You can file anytime because you already have your okay, not your P9s, but the taxes have already been for the year 2021. Yes, we're already done with 2021, so you can file your returns as soon as possible. So first of all, don't be a late filer. Those are the days where ITAC crashes. You're there at midnight, or it's one day and you're panicking and you're looking for someone to do your taxes. So first of all, do it as early as possible. Secondly, taxes are very easy. The ITAC system is very straightforward. I remember before I started working in tax, I used to feel like taxes are very overwhelming. Actually, I felt like the platform was very overwhelming. I didn't know how to file my returns. But for some reason, once you log into the system, like, it's a very user-friendly system. So familiarize yourself with the taxes, the obligations that you're registered for, and don't be afraid to log into ITAC. You actually don't need anyone to help you file your taxes. It's pretty straightforward, unless now you have like questions. So there's that filing bit. And also, thirdly, I would recommend that you know which taxes you have signed up for, because most of the people will go to a cyber and they're like, I want to register for a KRA PIN. KRA guide registers you for VAT, for very many taxes that you don't have an obligation for. At the end of the day, you come to, for example, you're looking for a tax compliance certificate, you're probably a director of a company, and they're like, oh, you're registered for VAT, you're registered, I don't know, for other taxes that are probably you are not supposed to register for in the first place. So familiarize the amount of taxes that you've registered for and correct them if they're not what you ideally supposed to register for.
Right. Okay, so 1, do not be a late filer. 2, usiogope kutumia ITAC. Just get on ITAC and see where that takes you. And 3, confirm what taxes you're actually registered for. Thank you so much. Any parting shot?
Well, let's see. Let's demystify taxes. Taxes are not as complicated as they seem, but the cost of non-compliance is very high.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I am very tempted to ask what is the cost of non-compliance, but I know that we're running out of time. So I'm hoping that we can revisit this conversation on another date, and then probably talk about even a little bit into commercial tax, just a little bit.
Okay.
And then, maybe taxes that come with savings, investments, and things like that.
Oh, actually, I could mention a parting shot. So with regard to savings and all that, so those ones are considered actually personal taxes. So PAYE is not only charged on your basic income. So if you earn a bonus, if you withdraw from a pension scheme, if you have a gratuity, if your employer decides, by the way, we are gonna give you benefits above 3,000 a month, so anything above that is taxed. So it's not just the money you get at the end of the month as my basic salary. It will add all allowances, airtime allowance, transport allowance. So it's basically encompasses all benefits that you get.
Okay. You know what? We will definitely revisit this conversation. I feel like I know I have learned a lot today, and thank you very much for coming on board.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope you have learned as well, and I hope to hear from you in the comment section. Tell us what you want to talk about, what taxes you want to learn about. Then probably you can get Joy to come again and teach us, and then we can keep learning. And if you have more tips, just share with us in the comments. Remember to share, like, subscribe, all those things across all our platforms. Discuss KE, and see you soon. Bye.